despite an inordinate share of golden opportunities.
The Saints have won the Super Bowl.
This is the test, right? This is the test. Can you put him behind you, right?
For the second time, Manning came up short in the ultimate game, leaving young Russell Wilson to hoist the Lombardi Trophy and millions of naysayers to question his big game credentials for the umpteenth time. 8 one-and-done defeats in the playoffs, 5 of them in his home stadium.
Good grief.
The pick 6 to the Saints' Tracy Porter that sealed the Colts' Super Bowl 44 demise.
He's had some great games. This is obviously not one of them.
Last year's overtime interception at Mile High that doomed the top-seeded Broncos to a stunning postseason faceplant.
The Ravens are going to the AFC Championship game.
And now, this.
Picked up by Malcolm Smith. Touchdown, Seattle.
Through it all, Manning has stood tall and taken the slings and arrows like a champ. A Super Sunday triumph over the Seahawks was supposed to be Manning's answer. A second ring on his finger that would prove, without question, that no quarterback has ever been greater.
He came up against Peyton Manning, and he was at his best.
Instead, the postseason remains Superman's kryptonite. And 1, the loneliest number, remains the digit that will haunt him on the road to immortality.
Prime, you have the first crack at this one.
Oh,
Post game now, this discussion we've had all week about the legacy. Where do you stand on it now?
I mean, unfortunately, a few of us guys sitting up here have gold jackets, and we hold people to a criteria unlike others. This is not good. I mean, what we saw tonight is not good. I mean, I can't even tell you one thing that I saw that I could take home and say, man, that was all right. This is horrible.
But wouldn't
it started from the first snap.
Well, wouldn't at most any quarterback have suffered a similar fate tonight against the defense playing as well as that defense?
So we're not talking about most quarterbacks.
But this is the problem, Rich.
We're talking about...
We praise Peyton, we should, for calling everything, being that intelligent guy and taking this team to depth that unbeknownst to men broke every record unknown to man. Then we give him all the credit. So now when they lose, it's not his fault. Whose fault is it? It's a team, right? But is it the team's fault when you win? No, Peyton is calling everything at the line. He's looking out there and making the checks. We told you in these pregame shows that, man, these guys over here for the Seattle Seahawks, they're pretty darn good. Arguably the best at their position, especially in that secondary. I think that arguably the best secondary he's going to ever see in his life. These guys dominated Peyton Manning in every aspect. Intellectually, physically, psychologically, emotionally, they dominated.
And when you say intellectually, Dion, and we talked about this, that play where Cam Chancellor peeled off and pulled that ball down from Wes Welker, you know, because it looked like Wes Welker was coming wide open. They were trying to almost like they were trapping Peyton and everything. Did a lot of things in there. We thought coming out, this defense stays in what they do. That's all they're going to do. Peyton will have a chance to eat this defense up. They said, no, we're not having that. This was a physical football game. And yes, this does speak to the legacy of Peyton Manning because it comes after. And you say, well, you know, you lost last year in the championship game, then you lose here in this championship game. So people are going to continue to talk about it. I had picked the Seahawks to win, but I really hope for Peyton to win and West so we can get past this. But we'll have another whole full year of revisiting this question that we went through about Peyton's legacy next year.
There's 3 views of a legacy. There's Peyton's view of it. There's if you think that Peyton is the greatest quarterback, is your view of it. And then there's if you want to think that Peyton that Peyton is not the greatest quarterback, then is your view of it. The guy plays this game at a level bar none.
Yes.
And every once in a while, I don't care who you are, you come up against something that's bigger, faster, stronger, more determined. Today, the Seattle Seahawks made sure that it was their day. Right. Now, some circumstances and some things happened early in this game that I don't care who you are. Against 11 guys that's playing as one heartbeat. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how fast you are. When they have your number and they hitting the way we saw today, you ain't coming back. And I'm gonna say this: sometimes the ball bounces the other team way, and sometimes they make the ball bounce their way. Both happened today for the Seattle Seahawks.
Very good point, Mark.
Today, both happened today, and it kept bouncing their way, and that right there, that leads to what we always call a beatdown. Now, Peyton, when you're great, and when we consider you the greatest, and I'm gonna tell you, I consider the man the greatest. The letdown for me was sometimes, all the times, you gotta fix that, because I call Michael Jordan the greatest basketball player of all time. And against the Detroit Pistons, when he had to go in the lane and take the beating to fix it, so his team could then look at him and say, okay, we good. That's what I need to see, and that's what we didn't see from Peyton. Now, I don't know if he could have did that.
How's he going to fix that?
Brian, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. The interception, the pick six, we can say the pick six. Okay, Peyton, that pick six was on you. But I don't know what quarterback can get his arm.
Right. Well, he hit his arm.
I don't know what quarterback can stop that. The interception.
What we gave Peyton love for was understanding that and getting rid of the ball too quick. So let's go both sides and all the way.
No.
And it's up to Peyton because he
Mike,
calls
I'm gonna let
to see all that happen and try to get the ball off. That's the love we give him. I think one of the things that we should talk about, Richard, is that 12-second thing that ties in with that 12-man thing. And we watched it last year with Ray Lewis. And when a team gets this thing in their head called destiny, and then these things all line up the way it lined up, Seattle felt like they were on a course for destiny tonight. And all of those 12s at the beginning of the game, 12 seconds scoring right at halftime. You got to start sitting back saying, they knew something we all didn't know. Well, they were on a destiny lead.
But everybody thought Peyton was on that too, having beaten Phillip Rivers.
Everybody wanted Peyton.
I'm just saying, having beaten Phillip Rivers, the quarterback who's beaten him the second most times in his career, beating Tom Brady, the quarterback who's beaten him the most times, and then coming to the cold weather Super Bowl and having it 50 degrees when it all started. But to your point, he played against a team that made the ball bounce their way and then had the ball bounce their way.
Dominated.
And they crushed it. Crushed it tonight.
They lined up and they didn't do much. So there wasn't many checks that needed to be made.
Right.
So what you had to do was you had to throw the ball, your receiver had to make catches and take hits. And that's what it came down to. Could you play tough football? Because if you watch them play against a team like San Francisco, Anquan Boldin, Crabtree, they catch the ball and they make tough catches.
Right.
That's what you got to have that.
We haven't doubted their receivers all year.
No. I'm not doubting their receivers.
No, we're not saying you're doubting their receivers.
I'm not doubting their receivers.
To play scheme when Seattle came up and said, no, we're going to beat you with man. Exactly. But then Seattle flipped on offense and they played scheme. They ran all those rubs. They kept Champ Bailey chasing from behind because he gets picked and those receivers played hard. I think what they did on offense was very important. Russell Wilson made some great plays and connected on those third downs to keep some drives alive. This was it was a great game.
They shut it down. Defensively, they shut it down when they were getting the ball in the first quarter and a half. Peyton Manning was being 3-and-outed, and then suddenly it was 36-0, and Russell Wilson's hoisting the Lombardi Trophy with a 40-burger.